we're here tonight to the first. When we say first, maybe there's more to come. Awaken, attract your abundance. We are super excited that you're here. We have a full house, as you can feel and see. So it was sold out. We are, yeah, so yay! A little bit of housekeeping. If you need a drink, there is wine as well as the craft beer at the bar. I just want to make sure you know that there's wine there. And the washrooms are at the back, and there's food at the back table as well. So it's my pleasure. My name is Debbie Sluice, to introduce and to welcome you here this evening. I have two other partners, Wendy Holmes and Michelle Hetherington, these ladies right here. Yeah. Thank you. And we have been meeting for the last couple of months to put this, what was just a dream, together tonight. And again, as I said, we are so excited to have you here. So if everyone can just put their hands, okay, so take them off your wine glass. Put your hands like this. Now like this. And now like this, as high as you can reach. Feel that stretch? Okay, thank you. You can put them down. So what you just felt is what we want you to do with your mind tonight. We want you to stretch, because you're going to hear some things that may feel uncomfortable. So as soon as you hear, feel, but, as soon as you have that feeling of but, shut it down, check it. Be open to what is going to be presented to you tonight. We're going to be discussing amongst each other, and check all those buts, and you can figure those out maybe later, or maybe they're not even truth at all. So that's what we're really challenging you to do tonight, is to stretch, and stretch your mind, and stretch possibilities. So I'm really excited to introduce a special guest here tonight. Her name is Elizabeth Downey-Sunnin, and she's going to lead you through a meditation. But before we do that, it's her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elizabeth. Happy birthday to you. You guys should all have an event you have to go to where people sing to you. Beautiful. All right. Oh, rose gold microphone. Y'all thought of everything. Serious. All right. I'm not going to move this. I'll just slouch a little bit. And because everybody else here is not Dorothy from Oz. Thank you. Okay. So, do you want me to turn it up? Like myself or the mic? I can get wild with the stretching. I was excited. All right. So tonight, I want to talk to you for just a few minutes about how important breathing is. And you're going to go, yeah, we know, because you'll die. But that's actually the part of it that I think we underestimate. A friend of mine said it so succinctly to me one time. He said, you know what, you can go without food for like a month and it'll suck, but you'll be okay. You can go without water for about a week, you'll be okay. But at the end of it, you can't go more than a minute. Even Michael Phelps without breathing. And that's where I thought, oh my gosh, when we take yoga, when we're practicing Pilates, when we're practicing getting ready to speak in front of crowds, when you get the phone call that you never wanted to get, or that just blew your mind, and you're like, that's where practicing and remembering how to breathe is going to be a game changer for you in keeping yourself under control, in terms of being able to react appropriately in the moment, and then appropriately later when you have more time to, you know, lay on the floor and roll around crying for a while, or whatever it is you do. Heard that one from a friend. So
Okay, you're right. What I want you to do is focus on the sound of your own breathing. Like really close. Okay. I'm wearing lip gloss. I might not be able to leave later. So we're going to focus, this is much better, eh? Yeah. So we're going to focus on the sound of your breath. Don't worry about the mouth breathers beside you. The sound of your breath going in your nose and then out of your mouth, because that sound sounds like, when you kind of pinch out the picture, that sound is the sound of the wind going through the mountains. That sound is the sound of waves crashing on the beach. That sound is the sound of what you hear when you're laying in a field of grass, right? And so the second, wherever your happy place is, the second you start that breathing and you start focusing on that, your body goes, oh, we're safe again. Oh, this thing I just heard or is driving me over the edge, or my teen needs the car. OMG. You can like chill that out with the breath. So we're gonna try 5-5-5. You can do 6-6-6. If I know some of you golf people are like, yeah, secretly. Okay, but 5-5-5 is all you need to do. Okay, so we're gonna try 5 in, 5 hold, 5 out, and you do that 5 times. Right? Like even I can remember that. And when we get done that, then we're gonna just do in and out. Because holding our breath isn't great for like, you know, living. But it's good for de-escalating, and it works really nicely if you're having trouble sleeping at night. You can do 5-5-5 5 times. And then by about 4.3, you're fine. And you're asleep. Whatever, heard from a friend. All right, so let's try 5-5-5. And we're gonna go in through our mouths, hold for 5, and out through our into our nose, hold for 5, out through our mouths. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you to close your eyes, because then you don't have to feel like everyone is staring at you or the weirdo at the front is staring at you, okay? No one's staring at you, but when you're breathing loudly, sometimes it feels like that. All right, so let's do 5. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. Hold. And out. Already, you'll notice that your heart rate is lower. Already, you'll notice that you might want to leave your eyes shut for a bit longer because it feels good. Our brains need oxygen in order to make decisions, in order to feel things appropriately, in order to, you know, keep alive. In order for you to not feel disconnected, absolutely. Guy in the background. When you're having a moment, do that. 5 in, 5 hold, 5 out. You don't even have to do it 5 times, because I know I can feel your energy level go way down by the time we've done it 3 times. Okay? breathing is super important. Yeah. Honestly, I think that you guys really have let kind of your dates, kind of put them in your purses and handbags. I think we're feeling good. I try and do meditation every day. They call it practicing meditation because you can't ever do it perfectly every time for the rest of your life. Even the Dalai Lama, we're BFFs and I know, but when you practice it, you can pull up this calm that you feel right now when you're in traffic, when you're having that difficult conversation, when somebody loaded the dishwasher wrong again, okay? You can pull that up, and your body, it's muscle memory, right? It's just like going for a jog, it's just like singing a note. It's like your body goes, oh, you need to do that chill out thing. So listen to the breath, feel the breath, and you'll have a wonderful, much better day. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And again, happy birthday. Enjoy your dinner. So welcome to all of you. There is, and you know there's 3 of us, so there's going to be 3 parts to tonight. So I'm privileged to lead the first part. And again, we really thought a lot about, and we're very intentional around what we called this evening. And my first part is Awaken. So good thing I'm a morning person. It made sense to me. I love, I wake up pretty happy all the time. So Awaken, and I'll explain about how that piece fits with what I'm talking about. So I see many familiar faces here tonight, so I think most of you know, but those who don't, I'll just do a little brief bio. So I've been in childcare for 30 years here in Chatham-Kent. I'm a childcare director. Yay! On the right-hand side there, or your left, is part of my team. So I lead a team of about 75. And actually, Elizabeth, I think she's already left, but she's in the middle there. You can see her, because she was the keynote speaker, not this past year, but the year before. It was EC Appreciation Day. So, and this was Where's Waldo? I have a really great, fun team. So I'm very blessed. And then 2 years ago, I started a company called Dare to Declare, because as much as I love working with the team with early years, I felt that I wasn't able to go deep enough. My professional development opportunities really were around child development, around programming, curriculum, and so forth. And even then, it's been a lot more around legislation and policies. And so I really wanted to get to the heart of the educator, him, we have a few males, but herself. And so that's where the idea for Dare to Declare with vision boards came up. So coming up in April will be 2 years that I opened my door. So, and it just continues to grow and provide me with opportunities such as tonight to do the speaking. So, but before we can get even to vision or any of that kind of talk around awakening, we need to talk a bit about purpose. So you have notebooks with you. If you want to take notes, feel free to do so. You can take any photos you want of the slides here tonight, because we don't have them in handouts, but if you want to take any photos to remember this later. So purpose is rather a slippery thing, isn't it? It's a tough thing to put your finger right on. And I think it's one of those things where people will say, even sometimes in their 50s or 60s, I really haven't discovered what my purpose is. Because I think that what they do is they tend to just look at one of these areas versus looking at all 4 of them as a foundation. So if you were to look at each one, and again, check that but, right? But, right? That which you love. What is it that you love? Buying shoes, drinking wine, right? But what is it that you love? So really thinking about that. What is it? What is it that the world needs? That's the second part. So thinking about that as a foundational piece. What is it that the world needs? What can you be paid for? So realistically, that's probably your mom talking, right? Can you be paid for that? But what can you be paid for? And then the last foundation is that which you're good at. And I would say that that one's probably the one that most women dismiss quite easily because they think, I'm good at it. It just comes easy to me. I see this quite often in my vision board workshops where women will talk about their vision or something that they want to do, and they dismiss it because it's just, well, for example, I'm good at it. And I had this with a lady, I met her a year ago. Her name is Rosemary, she's from Windsor. And she came into the vision board workshop. She had her board just about full. And then as it happens, at the end, I said to her, we were talking about what she really loves. And she's like, you know what? I really love to can. I love making preserves. I have my grandmother's recipes, and I sometimes go to the market, and everybody loves them. I said, you should do that. And she said, yeah, but it's just preserves. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that, right? And she said, well, maybe, yeah. Anyways, 2 weeks ago, I was at her retirement from the municipality of Windsor. She is opening a store in Windsor. Country Roads, I will find out, I should put the link in for you. But she is selling her preserves along with her daughter. And she said, we're doing so well, my husband actually thinks I need to open a second one. So again, that was a year ago. The other thing, I'm going to turn so I can see my slide as well here. I want to stay on track. About taking 100% responsibility. So, often when, and I'm going to say this for myself as well, when I think about some of the things that have happened in my past, or where I'm at even now, sometimes also as I talked about earlier with, sorry I have my back to you, with legislation, with policies that are coming down with the early years, I get really grumpy. And I start to blame. I blame the government, I blame the regulatory body, I blame the fact that we don't have money, we're not for profit. I just do a lot of blaming. And I mean, that's just in terms of profession, but even personally as well, right? I blame my husband, I blame my past, there's all these kinds of things. But truly to find and be in your purpose and to move forward in your vision, you need to take responsibility. And this is really tough love, ladies, but I'm speaking to myself as well. Is taking responsibility 100% and stop the blame game. So the power that comes with that is that when you acknowledge where you are and take responsibility for your life, you're stepping into your power, because the quote there that Jack has is that you've created it, which means that you can uncreate it. You are the creator of your life. So instead of having the disposition that things are happening to you, that you are the creator of your life. And when you have that switch in your mindset, it gives you so much power. Where people, I see sometimes women, they've given away their power because they're blaming. And that's really, truly giving away your power. So when you look at your life, oh, yes. So this has been so true for me as well, is that when I look at my life, and I've just had this in the last couple of weeks where remarkable things are showing up. And when I take a look, and again, I don't know exactly what it has to do with the calendar year, but when I look back at where I was last year at this time, it shows the evidence of where I am today. So if you look at where you are today, think about where you were a year ago, and that will tell you where your focus was. So take that as an action to start, and you've done that today. You put your focus on yourself today. You took this 2 hours for yourself. You've just planted a seed that's going to show up next year. Super excited for you. Oh, I didn't say the equation. The equation at the top, actually, I got from Jack Canfield. He co-wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. Many of you probably have read many of his books. So Jack talks about E plus R equals O. So your event plus your response equals your outcome. So, and again, there's power in that. When you recognize that your response is actually the controlling of your outcome, not the event itself, that gives you power. So what is vision? So vision can sometimes be cloudy, like this cloudy day up there, right? So sometimes people's vision, like, oh, things get in the way, life gets in the way. I know that that was certainly my case in my 30s. You know, as wearing so many hats, being mom, being a career woman, and so forth. So a great way to get back to getting clarity around what your vision is think about what was your dream as a child? What did you want to be when you grew up? You remember that? You didn't have any of those buts. You didn't have any of those how. How is that going to happen? How am I going to do that? You just dreamed really big. So it's a good place to start. Sometimes those aren't our vision and dreams anymore, but it's that feeling that I would ask you to tap back into as a child, where you didn't have any of those other kinds of worries, where you just gave yourself the liberty, the freedom to dream big. The second place is inspired experiences. And the more that I find that I tap into this type of thinking, the more that I recognize that experiences are teaching me something. And I see the symbolism, and I see that, oh, that wasn't by chance at all. This actually happened on purpose, and this was meant to be. This was meant for me. And in my case, I believe God. God's directing these things. And then I'm grateful to Him, which then circulates more things coming up for me. So it's by recognizing those inspired experiences that also will give you vision, because then you're following that flow and you're following that direction that, again, my universe, God, is leading me. The last way that I think that you could also help clear your vision is to connect with a really great friend, and I call her a critical friend. The one that isn't just yes, yes, every idea is fantastic. No. She's like Jessica, who pushes me. Right? Who says, is that truth? I love that one, right? So that's what you need in your life, is you need to have that friend that knows where you've been, knows where you are, and you can share where you're going and can say, yes, you can do this. But this just isn't your cheerleader, but it's also your challenger to say, are you dreaming big enough? I hear excuses. So that's the other person I think will really help you get clear on your vision. So vision is beyond what's been done in the past. It's beyond the present circumstances. It's beyond what you can imagine. And I love when this happens, when I conduct vision board workshops. Although it's a bit frustrating, I have to think about a way to actually get this to happen prior to the board being completed. So I really try to catch people right before they've got everything glued down, so that it leaves some space. Because often when I go and coach people with their vision board, and I say, tell me about your vision board. So they tell me all the lovely things that they want to do, and it's very systematic and logical, and something that's very achievable. And then I say to them, so tell me about this. Well, what I really want, and that happens like a lot. And I said, well, where is that? Wow, that doesn't go on my board. Oh, yes, it does. So that's when the crazy pops out. That's what I call it. It's like, it's such a big idea. You can't see the end, but dream it. Dream it and envision it. Oh, and the last thing is about being an expert of your experience. So that goes back to that example I talked about with Rosemary, where we often give away our power, give away all this amazingness of ourselves because we dismiss what experience we've had in life, and whether that be in relational. Like I had some women too that I was talking to, and I forget how this discussion came up around coaching or something, and but I said, look at what you're doing in your job. Look at how, with your family and all the circumstances and how your extended family and how you've been supporting them. Yeah, I guess I never really thought of that, right? So it's about taking stock and all of that. So another way to discover your vision is, where are you the happiest? Where are you the happiest? So I actually did this myself. So this was something that, as I was putting this together and thinking about this, I actually had to revisit this myself. So I'll tell you in a minute. So, and then who are you with? And what are you doing? So those three areas. Thinking about that. So for me, the image on the bottom was taken this past June. I did a vision board workshop up north in the Muskokas. It was lovely, you can see. It's like rustic and chic, like it was boutique, but it was cottages. My daughter will attest, though, like the mosquitoes were like insane. But other than that, it was very pretty. So but I just felt so cozy and so, it was just a community of women. I'm like, that's where I'm the happiest. So I brought that actually, I said it out loud, declared it, and so my Dare to Declare assistant, we're going to partner on a retreat actually in April. So I'll talk a little bit more about that after, but that came out of this feeling from this. So give yourself permission and time to dream. So Elizabeth touched on that a little bit, about taking your time. I had to think about how this person got out there. They waited, I know, I think too much. But, like, did they take it? I don't see it. But what an amazing spot. And I really thought, sometimes I need that. I need someone to put me in a rock and take all the distractions away, because I am so like, shiny, right? Like, distracted, like totally. And so I need to just be in a bubble and give myself that complete time. Because when I do, like my mind explodes and amazing ideas come out. So by doing this tonight for yourself, I hope some of these things will happen for you as well. The other piece is a real practical sense, is eliminating clutter. So physical and mental. Mental, I mean like people that are cluttering your mind. And I even talk about social media. Take a look at your news feed. If there's people that are putting things in there that are politically charged or are negative or they're complaining all the time, or delete, you can't do that in life, but you can do that in social media. Like, or mute if you don't want to delete them, you don't want to hurt their feelings. But you don't need to have that, because all of that is going into your mind. So really be discreet. What are you putting into your mind? What are you reading? What are you listening to? Especially before bed. That is such a critical time. Your subconscious has, say, 7 or 8 hours to percolate all the things you've just put into your mind. So again, I'm just going to promote the vision board, but how much better if you're able to put in your vision from your vision board right before you go to sleep. Take a focus on what you want, because your subconscious will be working all night. Yeah, I want to go to Italy, or hey, yeah, I want to, grow a garden, or whatever it is that you put on your vision board. So fill your mind, be intentional around that with things that are positive, that are going to move you towards your vision. So I'm going to, how are we doing for time? I want to do an exercise here with you. So if you can partner up, if you can all just turn to someone and partner up. Okay, so I need help with timing, because I don't have my... Okay, so, and I need timing for this exercise. Does one of you have a stopwatch? Okay, so what the premise is, it's very simple. One of you is going to ask a question, what do you want? The other is going to respond with a 1 or 2 word answer, and then the person that's asking is going to ask the question again. He's going to repeat the question. They're not going to respond to the answer. They're not going to say, oh yeah, me too, right? No, just don't even nod. Just ask the question again. What do you want? Person responds. What do you want? We're going to do it for 30 seconds, and then we're going to switch roles. Okay? Does everybody understand? Anybody not understand? You don't understand? Okay. Well, there's not understanding, and then there's like, it's hard. Yes, it is. Okay, so you're going to give a 1 or 2 word answer, and preferably a different answer each time. Okay? So different answer each time. Do I have a stopwatch here? Michelle or Wendy? Michelle or Wendy, do you have a stopwatch? Pardon? 30 seconds. Yeah. Yes, so your answer that you're giving back, when the person asks, what do you want? The answer is only 1 or 2 word. Yeah, very short. And then the person's gonna repeat the question. Okay, so Wendy, okay, we're gonna go. What do you want? Okay, everyone, breathe in like Elizabeth taught you. Do 5, 5, 5. Breathe in. Hold it for 5. And exhale. Now switch roles. And begin. What do you want? And stop. Breathe in. Oh, we're not done. We're going to do one more round. Yeah. I told you we're going to stretch. Yep. All right. Back to the original person again. Okay? Same thing. What do you want? You're doing it again. And stop. Breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. Last one. What do you want? Begin.
It's not too tense, but I want to build like a personal back make an impact. Make friends this year.
And stop. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I have a question for you. Who here is surprised about what showed up? Raise your hand. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I think sometimes we imagine, what do you want? I want a big freaking house. I want a big diamond ring. I want sex. Oh, my son's here. I can't say that. And my grandson. Oh, I need a glass of wine. See? It's all Jessica's fault. But often, material things is what we think is going to pop out. But what actually pops out are things like trust. I want to belong. I want love. It's those feeling kinds of things, right? So, and those are right here. And I think that's important to recognize. And that you understand that those are actually your vision. And when you tap into understanding that it's those feelings and those things that are your vision, that's actually what creates the energy. Objects don't create energy, which doesn't promote the law of attraction. It's those feelings that creates that energy. So I'm also going to have you just do a little exercise here with me. So if you would please indulge me and close your eyes. I want you to ask your subconscious to conjure up images for each of these areas. So each of these areas are actually, I have a vision board workshop that I do that's called 7 Life Areas, and these are each of the 7 areas. So in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine what is your ideal career. If you could do anything, there's nothing stopping you, time, money, moving, no barriers, what would your professional career look like? Who and where do you work? Do you own it? Do you work for someone else? Picture that in your mind. Again, be conscious of the fact that your mind is going to want to just push things out of the way that you might be saying, but. Hold on those images. Moving to the next is personal and health. How do you want to express your self-care? How do you want to grow in self-awareness? What does that look like for you? Look at yourself as though you're looking down from a balcony view. What does she look like? How much do you weigh? How do you feel in terms of energy? What does she look like in terms of your health? Next, let's move on to your leisure, your pause. Where you rest. Where are you? What are you doing to relax? Is it a hobby? Is it something you do every day? Is it something you do once a week? Is it a vacation that you take once a year or twice a year? What does your leisure look like? Your perfect, ideal pause in your life. Moving on to, I know I'm moving quickly, I apologize. Moving on to education. What do you want to learn about? What is something that when you are 80 or 90 years old, you don't want to have regret something? I never learned about that. I never did that. What is it that you want to do? Do you want to learn to play an instrument? Do you want to learn how to garden? Or like my friend Rosemary, to make your preserves? What is something that you want to learn about? Do you want to finish that degree that you had to set aside? Financial contribution. How much money is in your bank? What does that look like? Think of that number in your mind. In your bank account. Thinking about your income and possessions that you may wish to purchase. What's your Santa gift? Something that you would never buy for yourself because you maybe have thought it's just too frivolous. But secretly you've always wanted that. What does that look like? Moving on to family and relations. What's your ideal family situation look like? In terms of with your children, maybe with your spouse, with your extended family. What do those outcomes look and feel like? What does support look like within the family? Where are you picturing that? Lastly, thinking about your spiritual life. Giving back in terms of giving back to your community, spending time in nature, becoming connected with nature, being connected with God, going back to church. What does that spiritual life look like if it was ideal for you? So those are the 7 areas and images that you've conjured up. I hope that you'll hang on to those and the energy that you've created with them. So the quote is, create your future from your future, not your past, which is really truly about visioning. So it truly is scientific. The scientists have said that when you write down your goal, it is 42% more likely to manifest, just by writing it. So, and when you're writing, you're actually using your left side of your brain. So you're connecting that piece. I have numerous examples from women that have come and done vision boards with me, that have shared with me about goals that have manifested, and I'm seeing this as well now as my cycle of 2 years is coming up with vision boards and things are manifesting. So if it's 42% more likely to manifest when you write it down, it's actually 78% more likely to manifest when you declare it. So when you're sharing it with others, your own subconscious is hearing it, but those around you are as well. And you're soliciting and eliciting all of this additional resources and support from those around you. Inevitably, that will show up. So you're attracting the law of attraction, but also you're creating this inspired action where people are going to be attracted to you, and these things will come to you. So this is actually from Jessica. This was a parking lot conversation. So she shared with me, and I love this, so I share this within my workshops now, about these 3 simple words. And often people, when they do a vision board, they come in and they think about, well, what do I want to have, right? I'm going to put everything I want to have on my vision board. I want to have a new car. I want to have a new house. I want to have a new husband. Where did that come from? Just popped out. But truly, and then they think, okay, so I want to have these things, so I got to do this in order to have this. I got to, get a bigger house and do that, and then I'm going to be happy. Have, do, and be. And what's incredible is it's in fact the other way around. It's what you discovered with your what do you want, where it's about showing up, being loving, being trusting yourself, being all of those beautiful things that you were talking about that you want for yourself, is about being that best version of you and showing up that way every single day. Because then, when you do that, you're going to have. So the haves are going to show up. That law of attraction is going to be promoted. So I'll finish off with this slide here. Again, this is from Jack. It's called Jack. Jack Canfield. He says, decide what you want, believe you can have it, believe you deserve it, and believe it's possible for you. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. So thank you so much, and I'm going to now turn it over to my good friend, Wendy.
Sarah, can you hear me back there? Yes. Oh, okay. All right. Let's get started. Slide 1. Point it that way. Okay. It's not who you think that holds you back. No, sorry. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you are not that holds you back. Who in this room has wanted to do something, knows they want to do something, and yet they stopped? Or they procrastinated? Or they let a limiting belief get in between them? Or their self-image, right? Or their self-image. Almost all of us probably, right? So my name is Wendy Holmes. And that definitely happened to me, you guys. And tonight, my intention is to really stop hiding, to be vulnerable, to be real, to be authentic, to tell you my story of transformation, because it's been a story. I feel like I'm okay, this better. Okay. And I feel like I'm looking down. And to really share with you guys how this all transpired for me, and I hope that somebody hears something that they need to hear tonight. Okay, so the number one thing that I've learned, because I've studied, believe it or not, personal growth for almost 30 years. Yes, I was that girl in the bookstore that was looking for a personal growth book, and they didn't exist. You'd go to the baking area, and there'd be like 2 there. And that was me. That was me. I was studying it before people even knew what it was, right? So I'm going to bring you what I found about that. And the number one thing is that I learned that self-image can either empower you, or it can limit you. But what's for sure, it absolutely decides your results in life. So we have to start there, you guys, tonight. We have to start there. So, not yet. I'll tell you. I was born in a small town, 15,000 people, and my first run-in with self-image that I can remember was at about 5 years old. I loved to tap dance, and I said to my mom, I want to go on Big Top Talent. Do you guys remember that show? You're too young. And my mom said, okay. She was always very supportive. And she took me to Toronto, and I auditioned. I don't think I've ever told this story. And guess what? We got a call back the next day, and I didn't make the show. And the first thing that went into myself, like how I thought about myself, was I'm not talented, right? That was what went into the portfolio. Then the next thing happened in grade 3. I was in a Catholic school, and I had a nun that taught me school. And this is what she would do to me, you guys. She would pull on my hair to make me sing higher. Do you think that worked? No, it didn't work at all. But guess what it did do? It told me my self-image that she's not talented, and now she can't sing. And I never sang in the shower, like ever. And then I want to tell you a little bit about my family. So we were a middle-class family. My dad was an entrepreneur. That's probably where I get it from. And this was our supper table talk, always centered around money. The lack of money. Money doesn't grow on trees, right? Rich people are greedy. If you're gonna make money, if you're gonna be successful, Wendy, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer. So into the self-image portfolio went, I don't want to be successful because I don't want to be viewed as greedy. The last thing I want to be is greedy. The next thing that went in was in grade 11. I tried out for the basketball team. I always had done sports. And I made it to the final cut, and they cut me. And that night I went to bed crying. And what went into the portfolio, the self-image portfolio, was I was not good enough, right? Not good enough. Then it gets even better. Then I got married. And my husband said to me, don't ever smile because you don't have a good smile. Like, keep your teeth aren't good. And you look like you're standing on chicken legs. So don't ever wear short dresses. And you're not a very good cook. And for being a helicopter nurse and a trauma room nurse, you're not very compassionate when I'm sick. And all of that, you guys, went into that self-image. And I carried that, and I carried it well for a long, long time. But here's what I'm telling you guys tonight. That does not rule me anymore. No teacher, no nun, no talent agent, no parent, no coach, and absolutely no ex-husband tells me, woo, who I am and what I am today. So that's what we have to tackle this. So we're gonna start with this. So first image, please. So what we think we become, what is the law of attraction? The law of attraction is our thoughts become things. And guess what? If you put some feeling and some vibration into that, then they manifest. That's the thing that the movie The Secret missed out on. Who's watched The Secret here? If you listen to that clearly, you guys, if you put some energy, some feeling into it with some vibration, that's when it's going to manifest. So just as Deb touched on, This makes us 100%, and I mean 100% responsible for everything good or bad that's happening in our lives today. We are 100% manifesting that, and we have to own that, like starting today. Starting today. So if you look back, at history of biographies and autobiographies of anyone who is significant, that has had significant accomplishments, they did not agree on anything except for one thing that they unanimously agreed on. And that was we become what we think about, right? We become what we think about. So what I did was I fundamentally expanded my mindset about what I wanted to attract. And that changed everything, you guys, in my life, like everything from love to life to how I parent and to how I work. Okay? So that's the one thing you gotta remember. Okay, next slide, please. So let's start at self-image. I love this picture because, you guys, we have two self-images. So the first one is the one you're looking at in the mirror. And that's the one that we project to the world, and it's how we walk and how we talk and how we look, right? How we meet and greet people. But that's not the one that counts. It's the other one. It's the self-image that we hold inside. And that self-image that we hold inside, right, is the one that gets us our results. So if you have a negative self-image about yourself, you're going to have negative results. If you have a limited self-image about yourself, you're going to have limited results. And I want you guys, write this shit down. Everybody knows this now. Write this shit down. Right? Anna, write this shit down. You cannot outperform your self-image. Everybody write that down. If you remember one thing, write that. You cannot outperform your self-image. Whatever you're thinking is going to be your results, you guys. Next slide, please. So where do we start? There's two things you have to do, and Deb talked about the first thing. What do you really want, right? Who do you want to be, do, have? That's number one. So when I looked at this, I remember thinking, I bet you there's people here in the audience tonight who are like me, and your big dream has been sitting on your shelf in your house collecting dust for years. Anybody here have dusty dreams? Huh? Yeah? Right? And what you have to do is you have to get those off the shelf. And you got to open it up and you got to start looking at that again, because that's what you really want, right? We live in a society, you guys, where we feel like we can't have it all. I want you to know you can have it all, right? You can have it all. We don't have to be limited about that. So really think about what is it that you want? Like, is there a book you haven't written? Is there, do you want to start your own business? Do you want to travel the world? What is it that you want? And how do you have to be to do that? Next slide. So the coolest thing that I found out about self-image through all the years that I've studied it is that you and you alone can change it. So isn't that empowering, right? We are responsible for that. We can change it at any time, and we can step into her, right? At any time. Okay. This is me. So when you think about self-image and the person you want to be, I want you to think about that big goal that's sitting on that shelf, getting that dust, and how that person is. Who is that woman? How does she act and behave? How does she act and behave? Right? And you have to step into her. You have to step into her, and you got to own her. So I'm going to be hard on people right now. This is it, right? If your goal is to make $200,000 in a year, and right now you're making $40,000, that girl that's making $40,000 is walking into the room very different than that girl that's making $200,000. Do we agree? Right? And guess what? Her language is different too. This one over here may be complaining, justifying, whining, where this one over here is excited about life, grateful. So you have to decide how you want to be, right? What does she look like? What does she act like? Who's she with? What is she drinking? Is her nails done? We go even to the physical, right? If she's flying, are you flying first class or are you flying at the back of the plane? Right? Are you staying in a 5-star? Are you ordering wine because you like the wine or because you like the price? That's the difference, right? You got to step into her. And because that's the thing that you can control, and that's what I did. I stepped into her, and I'm going to show you how that happened. Next slide. What is this, you guys? Oh, who's got them on? Who's going to be? Oh, I saw something in the back. There you go. Okay, next slide. I'm going to tell you guys about 3 women who changed their self-image. Okay? This is Sarah Blakely. Do you guys know Sarah Blakely? Spanx, right? Did you know Sarah Blakely was a door-to-door fax machine seller? And that she got thrown out of so many offices, and one woman one day took her business card and went like this right in front of her face. And she got into her car, and she drove down the freeway, and she pulled over. And she said to the universe, this cannot be the movie of my life. I want a new producer, I want a new director in my life. And she drove home, and she sat down and she wrote down what her strengths were, and she only had one, and it was sales. And then she was even smarter than that. She said to herself, what do I like about sales? And she said, I like to help people. I really love to help people. And that night she writes on a piece of paper, this is a true story, I want to develop a product that will sell to millions and make them happy. 2 years pass, you guys, nothing happens. 2 years. She's going to a party, and she's wearing white pants. She wants the control top. She puts on her pantyhose. She doesn't want the sandal toe to show, or what is that what it's called, sandal toe or something? And she cuts off her nylons. You know that other women had cut off their nylons before, right? I'm sure they had. And that's when Spanx was born. But here's what she did to her self-image. So Sarah never went to business school. She didn't know anybody in the industry. She had never worked retail, right? But she made a bunch of calls to North Carolina because that's apparently where the hosiery center of the world is. And nobody answered her. And she put into her self-image profile, that she was persistent. And she took a week's vacation from her day job and drove down to North Carolina, and she went door to door. And they would say, oh, who are you? And she goes, I'm Sarah Blakely. And they said, well, what company are you with? She would say, Sarah Blakely. And they didn't even know who she was. And she got home, and she got a call from one guy, and he said, I'm going to take a chance on you. And he said yes to the Spanx. A year later, Oprah picked her up for my favorite show. Remember that, you guys? And her business skyrocketed just from that. And she's one of the #1 businesswomen, billionaires in the US today. But she changed her self-image. She stepped into her greatness. She was persistent, right? She was persistent. She saw herself as being successful. She saw a new movie. She saw a new producer, and she saw a new director, and she stepped into that. That's sample number 1. Everybody knows this, right? How can you be in this room and be a Canadian and not know this, right? So this girl is 19 years old. 19 years old. Bianca. Everybody knows Bianca. She won the US Open this past year for women's tennis. But what you don't know about Bianca, or maybe you do, is that Bianca was all about mindset. Her mom would report that she would write win on her hand when she was younger, playing other opponents. And she was already visualizing back then how to beat somebody. She wrote herself a check, dated, I don't even know what the date was, but it was from the US tennis thing. And that came to fruition in September when they wrote her a check for $3.8 million for winning the US Open, right? No, is it called the US Open? No, yeah, okay. And the other thing she said is that she meditated, she decided what it would look like to beat, and she would actually visualize beating Serena, what she would have to look like, how she would have to feel, what her mindset was. Every friggin' shot, she had it already laid out. She was a hard worker, but she was strong and athletic, and she saw herself winning. She stepped into that self-image of herself being a champion, right? Okay. The next slide I'm going to show you before you go there is one that I really, really, really had a hard time doing because it's me. And the reason that I have a hard time showing you guys, because a lot of you guys know me personally, and I love you all for being here, but it's that moment where you have to stop hiding, right? I want to show you, I have to be real, I have to be vulnerable with you. It's my time to do this for you guys. And I'm doing it because I know there's people in this audience that need to see this picture and hear this story. Okay. All right. That's me. That's me on the right. So that was me almost 8 years ago with my daughter, Sydney. And I'm going to tell you, that girl, I hardly can recognize her, right? And she was really skinny. She was broke. She was broken. She was alone. She was a follower. She was, really, it's hard to even understand how different I am today, right? That's self-image. The girl on the left is one of the top leaders in her network marketing company. She has financial independence. She has an incredibly healthy relationship. She is so close to her kids and gets to travel with her kids. She is strong, she is brave, she's a leader worthy to be followed. She likes to work out, she likes to eat clean. She doesn't gossip, she doesn't whine, she doesn't criticize. She's so different than the girl on the right. And that's because I wrote her. I wrote 17 pages about what I wanted to be like way back when. And I just kept reading it over and over again. And I kept stepping into it, even when I shouldn't have felt like I couldn't even step into it. I just became her because I dreamt her. And that's where we start. We start with our own self-image. Okay. I am. These are our t-shirts. Do you guys love them? Right? Thanks to Hannah. So, I am is such a powerful word, right? Do you guys ever think about who you are? Do you ever let your mind go there? I know some of you do. And do it big, right? So I want you guys to be thinking tonight of an I am statement for yourself. One that you're going to step into right here tonight with us. And I want you to command it and demand it every single day. Do you guys know we have 50-something days left in this decade? And we can all crush our goals before the end of the year. You know that, right? That's how it is. So the I am statement is about you. You get to decide who you are starting today. Even if you're not up to it, you're going to do it with us, right? I want to tell you about, who here are moms? Who's a mom? There's so many moms in this room. When you were first pregnant, your first child, and somebody came up to you and said, if they said, are you a mom, would you have said yes? Yeah, right? Because you were. That baby was inside you. The evidence wasn't there. You weren't holding that baby yet, right? You weren't holding that baby, but you stepped into that role. That's what you've got to do now with your goals, right? That's what you've got to do now with your goals. Okay? Oh, can you go back? So I want to do the analogy of the Wizard of Oz when we close here. So I got to tell you guys that I was kind of Dorothy. We'll call her Wendy, but Dorothy. And I've got to say, I hit a really bad tornado, right? I got divorced. In the year that I got divorced, my house flooded, and I was out of my house for 8 months. My ex, we'll call him FB. That bastard. It's my word. I like it. It's a word. He wasn't paying me child support, right? And he took off. His business bankrupt. And I was lost. I was lost. And I started on that yellow brick road. And the first thing I came to was the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow said, Wendy, get your mindset solid, be unshakable, be unstoppable, right? And that was my first step. And then I met the Tin Man. And the Tin Man said, you gotta have heart, put heart into your self-image, put grit into your self-image, put determination into your self-image, right? And then I found the lion, and the lion said, be courageous, be brave, right? And then I kept going, and guess what? I was Oz, right? It was me all along. And this is one of my favorite quotes, okay? I do this way. You have always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself, right? Ladies, every woman in this room has the power. Doesn't matter what is going on in your life, you can get through it. If I can get through it, you can get through it. Much love. Okay, so our next topic is about money, right? And Michelle Hetherington is going to be heading that one up. So Michelle?
Thank you. Boy, that's a tough act to follow there. That was awesome. I enjoyed that so much. So my name is Michelle Hetherington, and I am a financial advisor. Been in the business for 23 years as of November the 4th. I can't believe 23 years has gone by. And we have a business. I'm going to have her stand for a second. I have a business partner here, Susan Bayshard. And give a little wave, Sue, our business partner. So this is our building on Queen Street. And we bought it 3 years ago. And Sue had to talk me into it. So I'm going to tell the whole story, but she had to talk me into it because this last year, and it started 3 years ago with the building, Sue was like, we need to buy a building. I'm like, I don't know, Sue, I don't know. And she's like, no, we really need to do this. So this building kind of landed in our laps. It was already renovated. We loved it. We loved the location. And we just recently painted it. But we bought this building 3 years ago. But three years ago, I had to be talked into it. Recently, we've been living together, Sue and I. We say that, we've been living together. We had separate businesses, but under the same roof. So recently, we just actually joined our corporations together. And I don't know why, insurance companies like to have acronyms, but we're now called a MAC. Not a big Mac, we're MAC. And that just means multi-agents together in a corporation. I'm really proud to say we're the second female MAC team in Sun Life history in Ontario. The other one's in BC, but the second in Sun Life history. So I'm really proud of that. So, but it's been a journey. So it all started about a year ago. And so Sue and I were working, kind of together. We're in this building together. And life was good. We were doing well, but I don't know, maybe we had wine that day. I don't know what happened, but we said, what if we really kind of push the envelope here? What if we actually got out of our comfort zones? Because it's really nice and cozy there. But what if we actually built this business to something bigger than us? That's what we said. What if we got out of this comfort zone and decided, you know what, we're not going to settle. We're going to dream big. So we said, okay, what's that look like? Basically, I really feel like we grabbed each other's hands, and I'm fortunate to work with Sue, and we jumped off the cliff is really what we did. So first thing we did was we hired a coach. And if anybody in this room has never hired a coach before, I strongly recommend that you do that. So we decided to hire a marketing coach. And I remember coming back from lunch, so you're going to hear my language, which is my journey too. So I said to Sue, Sue, I really don't want to spend this money, negative, but I feel like we have to do this. We can't settle anymore. To get to the next level, to do what we want to do, we need to hire this marketing coach. So we did. So this underneath here is basically what our name means. So our new name is Arrival Financial. And it means coming to reach a place. Arriving at a peaceful conclusion. A time when something happens. Or an appearance of a new development. a phenomenon. So we really felt that this is a place we want to take our clients, but really it was where we were too. So the name really resonated with us. So this is my team. We just hired Danielle on the left side here. So this year, we hired the marketing coach. We decided we needed more help. We hired Danielle, which also meant training. We have the wonderful Nicole, who's also here at the back. I want her to just give a wave. She is our, oh my gosh, she is our marketing person. She is our, can you go pick this up person? She is our, can you call this person? She is really our everything, and she's been working with us for 3 years, and we love her. We call her Disney because everything's lovely, and clients are lovely, and there's never any issues. So that's our Disney. And we are an all-girl team. However, we have this fellow in here, and he has a separate company, and that's Ken, who's Sue's husband, and he is our partner in the group business. But we are all a female team. We're proud of that. When we came up with the name, I can say this in this room, but if you'll remember, I'll go back. So the V is red. And so little Abby Bayshard, who's here today, is like, I don't know why you got a V in your name, because you have to have a vagina to work here. So that's sort of our little joke. So that came from little Abby Bayshard there. So we're really proud that we're a female team, and actually we're hiring too. So if anybody likes financial services, we're actually looking to hire our next person too. So we're growing and expanding. So this has really been our year. So we hired the marketing coach, then we decided we would hire coach number 2. So this coach is a team from Alberta, and they work with financial advisors, and they basically go through all our numbers, they make us more efficient, they help Sue and I with the shareholder agreements, because our compensation is like the 8th wonder of the world. So we hired them, so this is now our second coach, and so my thing and my conversation around money, which I realized this last year, because now we've hired coach number 2, and life is crazy, and we're spending a lot of money, is that my go-to, or the voice in my head is, no, you gotta play small, you gotta play small, this is too big, oh my gosh, what are you doing, you're spending more money. And I realized that it's actually from my upbringing. Now, I am not criticizing my parents at all. I love my parents, I grew up middle class, but my parents were not entrepreneurs. So for me, growing up with parents that paid cash for their cars, paid cash for houses, never had debt, played it safe all the time, that was my understanding, and that was my upbringing. So now I'm in this business where I'm hiring 2 coaches, I'm hiring a new employee, you know, we're doing shareholder agreements and lawyers and accountants and spending money like crazy, totally different mindset. So my little voice in my head's like, oh my God, what are we doing now? Sue, I kept going to Sue. Okay, can we afford this? Can we do this? All the time. Talk me off the ledge. So that was my conversation, and I realized through my history, my family, where that came from. So I'm going to get everybody to close their eyes as well. And I want you to think about your child. Just take a minute and think about maybe a conversation you overheard, maybe it was a conversation that your parents had with you. Just think about that for just a minute. Everybody can open their eyes. Now, did anybody have, and it may be positive, it may be negative, but does anybody have, money doesn't grow on trees? Anybody hear that? What about, we can't afford them? Who do you think I am, Rockefeller? Right? So we have those negative conversations in our mind. And those play back. So those are the things that we are constantly having to work on, even in our adulthood, because that's our conversation, that's what we hear, that was what was normal. So I'm gonna now change the conversation. I want you to think about money affirmations. And we have a book in front of you, Arrival Financial. You can use it for your grocery list, but I really hope you use it for this too as well. So tonight I want you to pick a money affirmation. And really it's got to speak to you, it's got to resonate with you. So you could say, I'm financially abundant. Maybe it's every day I'm attracting more and more abundance. I choose wealth and abundance. My actions create prosperity. I use money to build my life. I attract wealth. I use money to build my best life. I am a money magnet. Wealth flows into my life. My life is full of prosperity, and money flows to me. So I want you to just pick one of those right now, and I want you to write it in your book. Whatever just kind of speaks to you. Everybody got their abundance, their money affirmations? So for the next 30 days, what I want you to do is to use this book, and I want you to write out that statement every day for 30 days. Yeah. If you want to be crazy, you can do a whole page every day. But I want at least once a day, write one of those statements for 30 days. And I also want you to be very aware of your language. So me saying to Sue, I don't want to spend the money. Just really watch what you're saying. If you're saying to your kids, I'm broke all the time, those are negative conversations. So instead of saying you're broke all the time, maybe what you could say is, you know what, I'm just not going to choose that today. I'm going to choose something different today. So really the next 30 days, while you're doing your money affirmations, really think about what you're speaking, what you're saying. Because we say these things, sometimes they're unconsciously. The next thing I want you to think about is what your number one money goal is. Number one. You don't have to share it, write it in the book, but the number one thing you want to do with money. Now when you write this in your book though, I want you to write it like it's already happened. So if your number one thing is, you know what, I'm so happy and grateful I have no mortgage. I'm so happy and grateful I've paid off my line of credit. I'm so happy and grateful I've maxed out my tax-free savings account. I'm so happy and grateful, this is mine, that I have a Louis Vuitton purse. Whatever it is, I want you to write that down. So I want you to write that down, your number one goal. Like Deb said, and it's funny how, you know, when we got together, we really didn't share too much of our presentation, but it's funny how we really all have the same message. Probably why we're drawn to each other. Everybody's wrote their number one goal. So the next thing I want you to do too, and for the sake of time, we can't spend a whole lot of time with this, but the other thing I want you to do is sometime over the next week, again with your books, I want you to think about what's next. So what does life look like for you in 5 years? And get really specific. Spend time alone and think about what's the house that you're living in? What's the car you're driving? What's the food you're eating? What's your body look like? What kind of vacations are you taking? What are you doing on your weekends? And write everything and make everything very clear. So what that looks like in 5 years. And this is one of the exercises actually that Sue and I did. We sat at my house for a day and we said, when we retire, what does our business look like? So starting with the end and then working backwards. So you can write those points down. What are you doing for a living? What house are you living in? What car are you driving? What do your vacations look like? What do your clothes look like? Your body, what do you eat? So in a very short period of time, we've talked about okay, what's our background? What's our stumbling block with money? What's our conversation with money? We've got our goals now. So now I'm going to give you some action items of things you can do right away to make a huge difference. So that's why we've got this on the screen. So for the next 30 days, again, I'm giving you more homework, but I want you to write down every time you get money. So did somebody pay you back for a loan? Did you get some birthday money? Did you get Christmas money? Did you, your paychecks? Every time you get money, I want you to recognize it because then you respect what's coming in. So really pay attention to what's coming in. For 30 days, I want you to write everything down. And then the next thing I want you to do, and this is a pain in the neck, I know it is, but for the next 30 days, I want you to write down every penny that you spend. I know. Nobody likes to do it. I hate doing it too. But write down, how much coffee are you drinking? What are you spending on groceries? Everything. For the next 30 days, where is your money going? Because a lot of times people come into Sue and I and they say, I have no idea where my money's going. This is going to show you exactly where your money's going for the next 30 days. And I'm going to challenge you to have what's called a no-spend day. So I just did this on Sunday because I feel like the grocery store is my drug. I go there all the time. I don't need to, but I do. So on Sunday, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to the grocery store. I have stuff to make for the next, probably week, right? So I want you to pick a day where you don't spend any money. And if you want to be really crazy, do it once a week. But at least do it once a month, no spend days. Okay? The other thing I want you to do too is, if you have any credit card debt, I want you to start working towards paying your credit card debt. Because the interest rates will vary you. So I want you to work towards that. If you have no credit card debt, I want you to start paying yourself first. I know we hear this all the time, but what it means is you're making a commitment to yourself that every month, no matter what, you're going to save some money. So you pick an amount, now you know where all your money's going, pick an amount, and every month have it just come right off your bank account and put it towards a savings plan, a tax savings account, one of those items. And if all that sounds like gargly goop to you, tax-free savings account, RSP, what do? I also want you to look for a financial advisor. And I want you to interview people because you need to feel comfortable with those people. Households working with an advisor for 7 to 14 years have doubled their wealth that other households don't. I know it's a myth to think, okay, I have to have lots of money to have a financial advisor. It's not true. All you need to do is have an open mind and to commit and have some disciplines. And I do believe that true wealth is just a series of disciplines. That's all it is. So I want you to find a financial advisor. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to do something for yourself that makes you feel rich. So everybody has their little thing. So I don't know if it's getting your hair done. Mine's my hair. And mine's my hair for a couple different reasons. I'm a cancer survivor, so I was bald at one time, and now my hair is terrible. So I have extensions in my hair. I spend a lot of money on my hair. Part of it is I feel like a diva when I go get my hair done, so I'm going to do that. And the other thing is it's a little FU cancer because my hair is really bad, and I'm not going to let it win. So my thing is my hair. You got to pick whatever your thing is. Maybe it's new bath towels. I don't know. And really, doing that exercise of 30 days, showing where your money is, I can guarantee there's things that you're doing and spending that isn't bringing you joy that you can reallocate. So do those things that make you feel good, that make you feel rich. Because the more you feel good, the more you feel rich, the richer you become. So I want you to pick something. I've got a couple quotes here. When you undervalue who you are, the world will undervalue what you do, and vice versa. That's Susie Lamont. And this is actually my personal favorite, and this speaks to me because I love Cher. So this is Cher talking. My mom said to me, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And Cher says, Mom, I am a rich man. So I want to just thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm going to share a little bit too of, I'm going to try not to cry, but I'm going to cry. Why I'm doing this tonight is, and again, I feel like too, just like Wendy and Deb, I need to be very transparent and real and genuine. And I went through a divorce 1.5 years ago, and there was days, I'm going to be very honest, I was not okay. And it's because of women that have supported me, Margaret, Sue, Trish, Wendy, Deb. It's these women that have raised me up. There is power in girls getting together, and I can tell you I was at the bottom of the mountain, but baby, I'm the top of the mountain now, so that's what I'm doing. So thank you. Thank you so much.
So is everybody getting their tickets out?